Welcome, everybody, to Looking Ahead, the Rhino Power Hour with Ryan Hughes. That's me.
So you bring up tracks, and something else that's unique to this sport, unlike any of the other forms of racing that you mentioned. The other forms of racing that you mentioned all have sanctioned tracks that are locked and sanctioned. You have to be at a certain caliber of driver. You have to have a special license. You have to be basically vetted through NASCAR, through IndyCar, through Formula One. They have a vetting program to control the riders. Mm-hmm. Yet, I can go out to Glen Helen and run into Bogle, or I can go out to Glen Helen and run into Roxon, or even Eli, or Jet. If the team is in town and Jet says, I want to go to Glen Helen to train, he can call Lori up, show up HRC, and ride Glen Helen. What does that make you think?
Well, I think it's, there's a couple different factors there. Yes, is, I grew up with it. I grew up, riding at all these local tracks I grew up riding here before local tracks were here. And then the local tracks came, and then you had to start riding with everybody. So that was a different thing that way. Yes, is it dangerous? But, unfortunately the way it is it's their track just as much as your track. And so now comparing that to the other side, one, I don't think we're going as fast. Okay. I know we're not going as fast, meaning, if you go out to Willow or you go to this, they're doing 160, 180. When you crash somebody, they're dead. It's massive. Okay. We're doing sometimes 10, 5, 30 miles an hour, a little different. So we can have some maybe wiggle room that way. You crash one of those cars, one of those bikes, whatever, you're a couple $100,000. You crash on a motorcycle, dirt bike, well, that's what's cool. You can pick the damn thing up and get going because nothing bent, or you just bend it back a little bit. That's what's cool about our sport, you know what I mean? Is that you can crash and keep going. These other racing forms, you crash, you're done. Okay. Even just a small crash, right? Aerodynamics, this.
Oh, yeah.
You're done. That's what's cool about motocross.
Did it teach you how to deal with traffic and congestion better on the racetrack when you had to ride with all of the general public at the local track?
I would say so for sure, because you learned how to read people. You learned how to read motors. Kind of like when I was behind people, I knew what they were going to do before they did it because their bike did this. It went this way, so I know what's happening next. So then I would go the other way, or where their body's leaning, I'd go the other way. So I was a really good passer when I raced. Okay. Really good passer, but it's because I continually pass people, everywhere, every track you go to, you're continually passing, setting up, analyzing, this and that, you get used to it. So that, does it make anybody a better passer now? No, I wouldn't say that. Maybe I would say for amateur riders, yes. For amateur riders, it's good because they got to learn to pass. They got to learn to pass, and they got to learn to be passed without changing their line or freaking out or anything like that, right? For a pro rider, you've gotten to a point where you know how to pass and you know how to block and you know how to keep your line and all that stuff. So I don't think it'd be a big thing for a pro rider, but amateur riders, you got to learn how to,